31-year-old man is standing in a supermarket aisle holding two types of cereal. He is not thinking about cereal. He is thinking about a woman who replied to his message with, "Haha, nice." And somehow, from those two words, his brain has built a future marriage, 2 children, a dog, and a small kitchen with yellow lights. This is what falling in love does. It takes weak evidence and turns it into destiny. But what if nobody could fall in love anymore? People could still feel attraction, they could still have sex, they could still care, marry, raise children, and grow old together. But the irrational spark would disappear. No butterflies, no obsession, no checking your phone every 14 seconds, no turning one ordinary person into the main character of your future. At first, the world would look healthier. A woman would not ignore 6 red flags because he has nice hands. A man would not move cities for someone he met 3 weeks ago. Nobody would sit in a parked car at 1:27 a.m. typing, "You up?" deleting it, typing it again, and sending it like civilization depended on it. Heartbreak would drop, jealousy would drop, toxic relationships would become harder to romanticize. People would see each other more clearly. A person who never replies would simply be unreliable. A person who humiliates you in public would simply be cruel. Nobody would call chaos passion as easily. Dating would become practical. 2 people would sit across from each other at dinner and quietly run the numbers. Do we want children? Do we handle money well? Are our families compatible? Are you emotionally stable? Do you leave wet towels on the bed? Romance would start looking less like a movie and more like hiring a co-founder for a small domestic company called marriage. And some relationships would improve. Without the fog of infatuation, people might choose better. Less fantasy, less projection, less turning someone's potential into proof. But then the deeper problem appears. Love is not only a feeling, it is a force that gives value to inconvenience. Relationships are inconvenient. You answer messages when you are tired. You meet families. You remember birthdays. You share a bathroom. You listen to a story from work with no beginning, no middle, and no visible end. Logic can explain why this is useful, but love makes people willing. Without falling in love, many relationships would never survive the beginning. People would still date, but fewer would risk rejection. Fewer would cross the city in the rain, with flowers slowly dying in their hand, just to say, "I wanted to see you." They would send a calendar invite instead. Marriage would still exist, but it would become more like an alliance. Families, money, class, religion, and social pressure would gain power again. Because love is often the thing that lets one person resist the group. A quiet accountant marries someone his parents dislike. A rich girl chooses a poor musician. 2 people from different worlds say, "This makes no sense, but I choose you anyway." Without falling in love, those stories become rare. People choose safer partners, more predictable partners, partners who fit the family table. The world becomes more stable, but less surprising. Culture would suffer too, because romantic love is one of humanity's oldest story engines. Remove it, and half of music loses its reason to exist. No breakup albums written at 3 a.m., no poems about longing, no romantic comedies where 2 people hate each other, share one taxi, and suddenly ruin their lives beautifully. No dramatic airport scene where someone runs through security because their heart has poor planning skills. Stories would still exist, but a central question would disappear. Will these 2 people end up together? That question matters because love turns ordinary life into drama. A text message becomes evidence, a dinner becomes a test, a silence becomes a psychological crime scene. But desire alone cannot do this. Desire says, "I want you." Love says, "Your existence has entered my future." That is the dangerous part. Love makes one person feel non-replaceable in a world where almost everything teaches us to replace, upgrade, compare, and move on. This is why love is philosophically strange. It is not efficient. It does not treat people like options. It says, "Among all possible lives, this one matters because you are in it." Without that, humans would become better decision makers and worse poets. Birth rates might fall, especially in modern societies where people already question whether children are worth the cost. A purely rational person could look at parenthood and say, "So I lose sleep, lose money, lose freedom, and gain a tiny roommate who screams because a banana broke?" Some would still have children through tradition, religion, planning, or long-term companionship. But the emotional push would weaken. The world would become older, quieter, more organized, and less full of children drawing purple suns on restaurant napkins. The economy would adapt. Dating apps would become compatibility platforms. Restaurants would lose first date nervousness. Valentine's Day would sell heart-shaped financial agreements. Jewelry ads would stop saying, "Forever starts here," and start saying, "Long-term pair bonding with excellent resale value." But the biggest change would happen inside ordinary days. Without falling in love, a cafe is just a cafe. A message is just a message. A song is just a song. No street becomes sacred because someone once walked there with you. No Tuesday becomes mythology. No ordinary person becomes a universe. Of course, people could still build deep companionship. They could still respect each other, trust each other, raise children, cook dinner, pay bills, and quietly choose each other for 40 years. That might even be more mature. But something would be missing at the beginning. The spark, the madness, the beautiful error. The moment where your brain points at one person and says, "That one, risk something there." A world where nobody could fall in love would not be cruel. It would not be empty. It would be sensible. People would still pair up, still build homes, still share beds, still grow old together. But nobody would look across a room, see one ordinary person, and feel life split into before and after. And maybe that is the horror. Not that humans stop living, but that they keep living reasonably, without ever becoming beautifully unreasonable again.